I don't think we were told to ever be afraid to ask for something at this school. Like if you wanted to be an encore acting company or run track or be in any of the number of programs at this school, if you asked to do it and you worked hard, you could achieve that.
Hello, and welcome to The Perch, where we highlight authentic voices, expert insights, and meaningful conversation. The Perch brings the Kinkaid School's mission to life through stories of education, leadership, and community. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Perch. I'm Mike Maury, and today we're diving into a new video series that explores what it really means to be a Kinkaid graduate. We're honored to be joined by someone who knows that story from both sides, as a Falcon alumnus and as a professional storyteller. Demetrios Cokinos is a 2010 Kinkaid graduate, and today he's working in New York as a television and film producer, writer, and director. He's currently a script coordinator on the show Your Friends and Neighbors, and he played a key role in shaping the new Portrait of a Graduate video series. Demetrios, welcome to The Perch.
Hey, Mike, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm just so honored to have been a part of the Portrait of a Graduate experience. It was really a great project to work on with you.
So how is life in New York right now?
Life's good right now. The industry is kind of getting back on its feet in terms of the film and TV world. As with, COVID and the strike, it kind of just put the industry into disarray for a hot second. But, we're all getting back on our feet and really working to make some great shows. I really love the show that I work on, Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV Plus. It's
Yes.
kind of about the gray area of humanity, and it's a really compelling character story starring John Hamm, and a few other really great actors. And I currently script coordinate on that, which means I work with the writing team, and I'm the last person who reads the scripts and, make sure we're hitting the ball with our story, making sure continuity works out. I have a lot of little things I have to keep in mind, character details, what day and time it is, so many different things in that regard. Thankfully, my first writing credit for television will air on October 24th for a show called Invasion. I was fortunate and lucky enough to write the season finale or co-write the season finale with our showrunner, Simon Kinberg. And that experience was something that I just will never forget. And also, if you had told me when I was at Kinkaid that would be how I got my first credit, I would not have believed you. He's just a really great collaborator, a great mentor, and just a great all-around person to work for.
A phenomenal show that is on Apple TV?
Yeah, Invasion is also on Apple TV Plus. It's a great, big old alien invasion show, but it's different because it's very much character driven, and the aliens sometimes fall more to the background, especially in season one. It's more how we deal with crisis versus the crisis itself.
Love that. So you have worn a lot of different hats. We've got producer, writer, director. Is there one that you're drawn to more than the others right now?
I love all of the aspects of the, film and TV industry and that creativity. I think right now I'm really focusing on writing at the moment just because I think that is where all these ideas kind of start is in that script. It's like the blueprint of the movie or the TV show. I love creating characters. So I'm currently just working to bolster my portfolio as I work on these other shows and hopefully just, trying to write better every day, trying to improve every day as we all try to do.
So a script coordinator sounds like it involves a lot of collaboration. You're working with a group of professional writers, all aiming towards the same goal. And now think back to your days at Kinkaid. What type of activities help prepare you for this type of professional challenge working together as a team?
I think the three areas that really helped me out were the creative writing program that I entered in when I was a sophomore, and I stayed in that until I graduated. Also, I'm not sure how it's kind of working these days, but there was acting company and encore that I love for singing and acting. Of course, I love being in the musicals, and also I ran cross country and track. And I think those three things, the important element to all of them is the coaches and teachers always tried to get us to work together, even on cross country, where it's seemingly an individual sport because you're just kind of running by yourself. We always said when you're on the course running by a teammate, give them a drag, like let's get them, to run with you and keep up with you. So it was always this supportive environment that we were raised in at Kinkaid and always told that collaboration is the best way to make something work.
Kincaid, one of the things that differentiates it is the path that students go through where they are exposed to athletics
Mhm.
and arts and academics.
It was quite great to do it at Kinkaid because, I do my creative writing class during the school day. That was an actual class. Oh, I have to mention the English department too, especially the AP English department. That was just phenomenal. And I was here. I learned so much from that. And that helped me at Northwestern a ton. But, you do creative writing in the day and then you have that half hour after the day, then you'd go run cross country and then, the acting and the singing and encore and acting company, that was all after sports. So it was all kind of baked in to where if you wanted to, you could do as much as you wanted without huge conflict. I'm sure I had some conflicts here and there, but it was always encouraged just to try new things here, and they were always available for you to try, and that really impacted me. And I think something at Kincaid that really stuck with me is I don't think we were told to ever be afraid to ask for something at this school. Like if you wanted to be an encore acting company or run track or be in any of the number of programs at this school, if you asked to do it and you worked hard, you could achieve that. And I think that stuck with me because, for my first writing credit with Simon, I asked him to write that episode. It was a whole year long pitch process almost where I said, like, I'd love to write on this show. I was his script coordinator at the time. And, he said, you need to send me a sample of your work, which I did. And I eventually got the co-write credit with him. But if I hadn't have asked for that opportunity, he wouldn't have even wouldn't have crossed his mind, and I think that's something we all need to keep in mind in just this world that you're not going to get what you don't ask for.
So, Demetrius, what I heard you say was that success is not really luck, it's preparation.
Yeah, I think on this, when I'm not doing my day job, I'm always trying to bolster my portfolio, my outside work. I direct short films and I do a lot of photography on the side as well. And again, just always writing. I go home, I write on the weekends, I try to bolster that portfolio, all to be prepared for the next thing because I never want to be in a position where someone asks me for something and I don't have it, because then that's when the opportunity gets blown.
So, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the series of videos we created called Portrait of a Graduate. You were involved early on in the project. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got connected?
There was an alumni event in New York, that Jonathan, and Tom Moore flew in for and a few other people, and I always love going to those alumni events just to catch up with people and see old friends and
Because
old teachers.
Jonathan Eads
Yeah,
had a school.
Jonathan is, yes. And, we were talking and he mentioned this project, and the, department working on it, and then I was connected with you and Peggy, and we talked through that, and it just felt like this was something that I could really help out with because I think, what y'all pitched to me when we were first talking about is you wanted to be more of like a story of a graduate, not necessarily just listing out, qualities of a graduate. And I think we really worked hard and achieved the goal of creating a story of what makes a Kincaid graduate special.
Agreed. I love the idea of story because as we started to travel and interview some of our graduates, there was definitely stories to be told, both
Mhm.
from days at Kincaid, but much like yours that you just shared, stories that went beyond into their career. I mean, you prepped a lot of our graduates for the recording sessions. Did anything jump out at you as maybe a common thread that some of the graduates took from their time at Kincaid?
Sure, I would say the just sheer excitement of being asked to, be interviewed and to talk about their experience at Kincaid and how it impacted them was the commonality through all of them. No one said no. They were all like, I would love to do this. I'd love to make it work." And then The pre-interviews were interesting because they wanted to talk about it so much. They were so excited that I had to be like, "Okay, we gotta save this for the actual interview. Like, let's, put a pause on this. This is all great." But yeah, that was the common thread is they were all really excited to give back and to talk about their experience. And I think what we found through all the interviews is that there was a tenacity among all of the different graduates that no matter what area they were in their life, they just had a drive to just do the best they could, whatever that meant for them, not in some kind of competitive way, but just in a way that I'm going to try my best and make this work, in the way that I see fit. And I think that's a really cool message to be passing on to the current students. And then when we got the interviews, we transcribed them, turned them into scripts, and we would go through them and we would just, first, I remember we would just highlight great nuggets from the interview that we knew we wanted to hear. And then we kind of started to see how those nuggets would weave with the other graduates and weave together. And, it worked really well. And we changed the questions for the different 4 videos, per the thesis of the video. But the main goal for every video was just to get good stories from these graduates. And I really think we hit the mark on that.
When our audience begins to see some of the stories in the Portrait of a Graduate series, a lot of the pieces you talked about in your Kinkaid days, as well as your professional career, are really going to resonate and come to life. So, to our listeners, we are excited to be able to debut the Portrait of a Graduate video series. If you check out the Kinkaid website under the Who We Are section, or you can jump over to Kinkaid's YouTube channel and enjoy some of the work that the Strategic Communications Department here at Kinkaid and Demetrios helped create. So that wraps us up for today. The Perch will be back in 2 weeks with new conversations and stories about education, leadership, and community. Be sure to follow us on social media, check out Kinkaid's website, and read the Falcon Flyer for more on how Kinkaid supports our students and our community throughout the year. Thanks for joining us again on The Perch.